Hey guys, hi. Am I audible? Cool. We'll be starting at 7 p.m. So, like about 7 minutes from now. So, if you want, you can go forward.
Hello, am I audible? Hello. We'll start the session. Cool. So, hello everyone, and a very warm welcome to the session 8 of the Summer School 2025. We are thrilled to have you all here today. This series has been an incredible journey so far, and it wouldn't have been possible without your consistent participation. Over the past few sessions, we have explored a wide range of topics like design thinking, user research, MVP building, product market fit, etc. And all these topics, each one adding a new dimension to our learning journey. So let's dive into our today's session. Today, we are turning our attention to a key pillar of any startup journey, funding and pitching. Two words that are absolutely crucial, yet often misunderstood or underestimated. Pitching is how you communicate your vision, and funding, on the other hand, is the fuel that turns that vision into reality. It's what enables you to scale, build, or reach your market. By the end of this session, you'll have a much clearer picture of how to craft a pitch that grabs the attention, builds trust, and open doors. Let's start with the basics. What exactly is a pitch and why does it matter? A pitch is more than just a presentation. It's a powerful way to communicate your narrative, vision, and supporting evidence, but with clarity and confidence. As we move into 2025, successful pitches must go beyond facts. They should be blend data with emotional appeal and relevance. So your message not only informs but also resonates with the audience. It's also important to keep it simple. If your idea can be understood by a child, it means you have truly nailed your messaging. Finally, the best pitches are those that are straightforward, memorable, and lead to action. One should avoid overloading the audience upfront and save the details for when they are genuinely curious and ask for more. In short, a great pitch isn't just about the what you say, but how effectively you get others to care and act on it. Now, we understand the importance of a pitch. Let's look at the different types of pitches. As not all pitches serve the same purpose. Each has its own tone, timing, and target audience. While there are many pitches of while there are many types of pitches, depending on the context, the following are the most commonly used and widely appreciable in the startup world. Let's start with the elevator pitch. This is your go-to for a quick informal settings like networking events or chance meetings. It's like a short, sharp, and designed to spark interest in under a minute. Next, we have investor pitch. This one is more formal and structured. It focuses on your startup's vision, traction, and funding requirements. It's your case for why investors should believe in and back in your venture. Then comes the sales pitch. You'll use this when trying to convert a lead into a customer. The goal here is to clearly show how your product or service solves their specific problem while addressing any objections or doubts they might have. Finally, the product pitch. The product pitch is typically used during launches, demos, or partnership talks. It highlights your product's key features, use cases, and market potential. Each of these pitches serves a unique purpose, and understanding when and how to use them is a core part of becoming an effective communicator in the startup world. Now, let's take a closer look at these types of pitches and the two of the most commonly used pitch formats, the elevator pitch and the investor pitch. Starting with the elevator pitch, this is your grab attention fast pitch. It's short, just 30 to 60 seconds, and perfect for quick interactions at networking events or informal meetups. The idea is to define what your product or service is in one impactful line. A strong elevator pitch typically includes your problem statement, unique value proposition, and a clear call to action, all delivered within confidence and clarity. Now, shifting towards the investor pitch. This is where you go deeper. It's meant for formal scenarios like investor meetings, pitch competitions, and demo days. This pitch gives a full overview of your business, covering your vision, mission, problem solution, market opportunities, etc. A well crafted investor pitch usually runs across 10 to 12 slides and should strike the right balance between the data and storytelling. So, to sum up, use the elevator pitch to spark the interest and the investor pitch to build the conviction and close the loop. Now, let's take a look at two more practical types of pitches, the sales pitch and the product pitch. Starting with the sales pitch, this is all about convincing. It's used when you're directly interacting with customers during sale calls or demos. The focus here is on addressing the customer needs using visuals, real world examples, and most importantly, encouraging two-way dialogue. A good sales pitch should always end with a clear call to action, whether that's a booking to follow up, making a purchase, or signing up. On the other hand, the product pitch is more informational. It's typically used during launches, trade shows, or presentation to potential users. The goal is to highlight your product's unique features, market relevance, and how it solves a specific problem. This pitch is often demonstrated through live demos and doesn't necessarily need a direct call to action. It's more about showcasing your value and generating buzz. The essence sales pitch is about converting a lead, whereas the product pitch is about showcasing your innovation. Now, what all elements makes a great pitch? One of the most critical parts of any great pitch, defining the problem. This is where your story begins. If the audience doesn't feel the pain of the problem, they won't care about your solution. A compelling problem statement needs to be specific and data backed. It should clearly state what the issue is, who is affected, and why does it matter right now. Let's look at the comparison shown in the slide. Saying people don't like waiting in lines is a vague statement. It's too broad, lacks context, and doesn't show the scale of the problem. But if you say 50 million commuters in India, India's top 20 cities spend 18 minutes daily waiting, costing 2 million annually. Suddenly, it feels urgent and important. Is that a sound? No. Just a second, guys. We have some technical issue. Oh, yeah. Yep. Okay. Am I audible? Am I audible? Yeah. Cool. Okay. So we'll start. Um, so what all elements makes a great pitch? One of the most critical parts of any great pitch, defining the problem. This is where your story begins. If the audience doesn't feel the pain of the problem, they won't care about your solution. A compelling problem statement needs to be specific and data backed. It should clearly state what the issue is, who is affected, and why it matters right now. Let's look at the comparison. Saying people don't like waiting in lines is a vague statement. It's too broad, lacks context, and doesn't show the scale of the problem. But if you say 50 million commuters in India's top 20 cities spend 18 minutes daily waiting, cost $2 billion annually, suddenly it feels urgent and important. And that's a specific problem statement. It quantifies the pain, identifies the audience, and conveys the urgency. So we should keep in mind the sharper your problem, the stronger your pitch. Now, once you have defined the problem clearly, the next big question is how do you present your solution? Your goal is to clearly show your solution directly solve the problems you just talked about, and to do it simple, understandable language. Let's look at the ways you could present the same solution. One of the left, we have a jargon-heavy version. We leverage AI-powered cloud-based energetic platforms to optimize queue management. It's filled with technical buzzwords, but doesn't say anything concrete. It sounds impressive, but it leaves people confused. Now compare that to the clear communication version on the right. Our mobile app lets commuters reserve a spot on their bus or train in real time, reducing wait times by up to 70%. This version is simple, specific, and directly addresses the problem we saw earlier. It also highlights a unique benefit, real-time reservation and reduced waiting time. So, to present your solution, we should remember to be clear, to be direct, and focus on what makes your solution meaningful to the audience. Once you have shared the solution, the next key piece is your unique selling proposition or USP. First thing, what is a USP? It's the one thing that makes your product or service stand out. It clearly tells your audience why you are different from the rest and that why difference matters. Saying something like we have the best service and most features, this is way too generic. It could apply to any product in the market and it doesn't tie to into a real user need or show how you are better than the competitors. Now, compare that with a stronger, clear USP. Our app is the only platform that lets commuters reserve a seat in real time and get AI-powered route suggestions, reducing wait times by 70%. This version is more specific. It highlights exactly what makes it unique and it directly speaks to the market gap. So, when you craft your USP, ask yourself, what do we offer that no one else does? And how does that solve a real, meaningful problem for our users? Once we have established what makes our solution unique, the next thing investors want to understand is how big is the opportunity. This brings us to market size. Understanding your market size helps to frame the opportunity and tells investors whether the opportunity is worth chasing. But here's a common mistake. The global transportation market is $1 trillion. If we just get 1%, that's a $10 billion. This sounds impressive, but it's vague and unconvincing. It's a top down estimate, lacks focus, and doesn't explain how you will actually reach that 1%. A better way, use a bottom up approach that's segmented and realistic. For example, our initial target is 10 million daily commuters in tier 1 Indian cities spending $100 per year on transport apps, a $1 billion serviceable market. With our distribution partnerships, we aim to capture 2% in the first 3 years. This version shows you have identified a clear segment. You understand user behavior and spending. You have thought about how to actually enter and grow in the market. So one should aim for the grounded research-backed market size estimate, not just big numbers, but numbers that make sense. So all right, you have shown the opportunity is big and realistic. Now it's time to address key questions investors always ask. Who else is already doing this? This brings us to the next crucial statement analyzing the competitive landscape. A big red flag in any pitch saying we have no real competitors, our solution is unique. Even if your solution is innovative, saying this shows a lack of market awareness. There are always alternatives, even there are outdated or offline workarounds. Instead, show investors you have done your homework. For example, existing apps like Citybus, QuickRide, and Metro now offer static schedules or basic ticketing, but none provide real-time seat reservation or AI-based route optimization. Many commuters still rely on manual methods or WhatsApp groups to track buses. This just three things. Shows your understand the current landscape, highlights what's missing, clearly positions your solution as a better alternative. Knowing your competition doesn't weaken your pitch, it strengthens it. It shows you're serious, strategic, and ready to compete. Okay, so your solution is clearly positioned. Now, investors want to know, is anyone actually using it? This is where you're demonstrating traction, one of the strongest signals of your startup potential. So, let's discuss what is traction. It's the measurable proof that people want what you're building and that they are using it. Now, when founders say things like we have 10,000 downloads and lots of positive feedback, that sounds nice, but it's what we call vanity matrices. It doesn't really show if users are coming back, paying, or even engaging meaningfully. Real traction is about hard metrics. Something like in the last 6 months, we grew from 1,000 to 20,000 daily active users, processed 5 lakh bookings, generated rupees 50 lakh in revenue, and signed MOUs with two major city transport authorities. That's traction. It shows the real growth, momentum, and adds 30-party validation. So one should not just people say like it should be proved with numbers. Let's talk about showcasing your team. So what does it really mean to showcase a team? It means proving your audience, especially investors, that the people behind the startup have the right experience, skills, and credibility to execute the idea and navigate challenges. Now let's break down the slide. On the left, we have what we call the generic pitch that you'll hear things like our team is passionate and hardworking. The CEO has an MBA, the CTO is a computer science grade. While that may sound decent, it's vague and unimpressive. Why? Because passion and education are expected. They don't set you apart. And there is no real evidence of domain expertise, leadership, or past success. It's essentially a resume headline with no context. This column ends with no relevance, experience, and passionate and hardworking, both of which are not enough to instill investor confidence. Now, move to the right hand side. The correct way to showcase your team. You're not just naming degrees, you're pointing to real world accomplishments. The CEO is the former product lead at Radbus, where they scale the user base from 0 to 1 million. That shows they have been in a high growth, high pressure environment and delivered. That's gold for an early stage investor. So, just like that, the CTO built real time bookings in systems at Ola. That's directly relevant to the logistics or mobility startups. It shows technical leadership and domain fluency. The advisor was the former head of Delhi Metro IT. This side of the slide ends up with phrases like relevant, impactful, concise, and ex Redbus product head. Real experience that's specific, actionable, and memorable. So here's the takeaway. When investors look at your team, they're asking, have these people done something similar before? Can they really execute? Do they bring unique access or credibility to this problem space? The next key element of a great pitch is making a clear ask. A clear ask is where you will tell investors exactly what you need, how much money, why you need it, and what you will do with it. This builds trust and shows that you have thought through your plan. Here's what a weak ask sound like. We are looking for funding. And that's it. No amount, no purpose, no plan. It's like walking into a room and saying, I need help, but giving no clue what kind, how much, and why. It forces the investor to ask basic questions and doesn't inspire confidence. The why now part of the pitch answers a crucial investor question, and why is this the perfect time to invest in your startup? Simple saying we think this is the good time to launch is a vague and misses the opportunity to highlight urgency or relevance. A strong explanation should tie your startup to current trends, events, and shifts in the market. For example, mentioning recent government mandates for digital targeting and a 40% rise in smartphone adoption post pandemic not only shows a timeline opportunity, but also reflects awareness of external factors. It makes the case that there's a unique window for growth and that the startup is positioned to seize it, especially when competitors are still focused on legacy systems. This kind of explanation builds urgency, validates timing, giving investors confidence in your study's awareness. Now, the topic comes what investors look for. When we talk about what investors are really looking for in 2025, there's a major shift towards precision proof and long term impact. Data driven decision making has become the foundation. Investors are no longer interested in vague vision statements. They want numbers, real data that prove your business is on the right track. That brings us to traction. As we have discussed in earlier slides, traction essentially means the measurable process a startup has made. This could be revenue growth, user adoption, retention rates, or any other solid metric. Importantly, there is a noticeable shift from chasing growth blindly to providing profitability. And when investors want to know, is there a real or achievable path to making money? Growth is good, but growth with a clear route to profit is even better. Sustainability and impact are no longer nice to have, they are core to investment decisions. Investors want to know how your startup impacts society and the environment. Is it creating long term value or just riding a short term wave? Finally, ESG factors, environmental, social, and governance, are playing a major role. These elements determine not only the ethical standing of your business, but also how resilient and scalable is it the long run. Beyond the business models and matrices, yeah. Beyond the business models and matrices, investors pay close attention to the founder themselves because at the early stage, they're betting more on the jockey than the horse. First and the foremost, investors look for founders who are truly obsessed with the problem they are solving. This obsession signals deep-rooted passion and the long-term commitment, which are critical to surviving the ups and downs of the startup life. They want to see that you are care deeply about solving a real issue, not just chasing trends. Next, they're looking for the evidence that you have learned from your journey, whether it's through failed attempts or small wins. Your ability to adopt and grow from the experience signals potential for long-term success. Another top priority is scalability and defensibility. Investors want to know, can your solution scale to serve a large market? And can you protect it from being easily copied by others? They also evaluate whether your startup can grow exponentially, not just steadily, and whether it takes to maintain a competitive advantage as you can scale. That advantage might come from your technology, your brand, your unique customer insight, or even your operations. Whatever is it, they want to know what makes you hard to beat. So overall, what investors want is a combination of proof, potential, and purpose. If your startup is built on strong data, a clear path of profitability, and a meaningful impact, you are far more likely to catch their attention. Om will continue after this.
Hey guys, hello. Am I audible? Please send a hi if you can. Hello guys. Am I audible? Hello. Yeah, great. Seems like quite a lot of time since you are listening and listening. Let's take 2 minutes. We have shared the Google Form link for the attendance. I'll wait for you guys to fill your attendance. Let's take 2 minutes for that. Grab some water and all if you like. So, so far, thanks to Madhav, he shared a lot of information with us regarding what all are the elements in a pitch that really make it. So we discussed about lots of elements, starting from what are your problem statement and stating till why it's the correct time for you to solve this problem now or why are you the correct person. So all these elements won't be there in each and every pitch you're talking about. Uh, when you're talking to an investor, you will be highly focusing upon the market situation, your competitors and all. Other side, when you're giving a product pitch, when you're so at that time your differentiation factors that will make a key difference there. So in a way, whenever are you making any pitch, you will have all these elements, but not all of them will be equally stressed. Now moving forward to the part where we are talking about your relations with the investor, how do you connect with them, how to maintain your contact, how to utilize it. Also about when you're pitching it, you got to know about major things that should be there in your presentation. We also going to be looking at what are the common mistakes and good points that should be there in your pitch. And going forward, we'll also discuss about funding. Should you have funding or should you not? Then types of funding you can get. Also, at the end, we'll be looking of the ways in which you as a student founder can be utilizing the resources and all for the best of your case. Now, let's start. So, talking about how do we connect with any investor, like it does apply a lot to any professional investor, but in general, this will also be helpful for your guys when you're talking to anyone who in a professional domain. The format will be pretty much similar. So, talking about leveraging your network. The point is, whenever you are connecting to some investor or some professional individual who is already very busy, so if you have someone who can give a short introduction about you, going to him, it, according to statistics, it's about 5 times more likely that your meet goes well and you gain whatever you needed out of it. Also, when you're speaking to anyone, just cold mailing them, hello sir, the just same old format, I want to do this, I have this that, won't be that useful. Today we have lots of resources, we have AI, we have chat gpt and all that can leverage their LinkedIn profiles, their activities and all, and help us craft personalized responses. And this personalization, trust me, helps us a lot, because whenever the person himself is reading it, he feels like you have been active reading about what he is doing. You know why he is the correct person you are approaching for, why he can be the correct person to help you. When you mention about his activities or whatever he has been doing for a past, just maybe like adding a line like, sir, I saw your post on this, on sustainable growth. I am also in a similar field. Or, sir, you went in that startup expo. I was also there. Glad to hear your speech. I was interested in connecting with you as you had mentioned. And that can totally change the way he feels about your conversation. Also, being very concise in your words is very important. See, like whenever you're thinking of cold mailing someone or talking to someone, we should remember that they are very professional individuals who are already busy with lots of stuff. So rather than getting them bored and giving lots of information, at least in the starting meets, until and unless they show a lot of interest, let's be very concise to what exactly are the details we need to share. And yeah, following up. Listen, like this is the most important part of connecting with someone. The desire or the persistence you show when you're connecting to someone, like it's okay, there is a bit of difference between spamming and following up, but if you are following up correctly, like a mail or two, that will be looking forward as well how to do that. But if you are following up correctly, it totally changes the way the investor or the person feels about you. It shows your persistence, your will, strong will to connect with them and discuss. And that is where lots of results are coming from. In any cold mailing, anything, you'll get a lots of majority of results when you're following with them. Now, talking of what are the key characteristics of pitch decks in 2025. So here I mentioned 2025 because it would not have been the very same talking of few years earlier, because we didn't have all these resources and all the data possible and to make them. But talking of today, we have lots. So talking about the first point, data backed projections. Investor or any professional doesn't want any vague projections like we'll be doing 1 crore every month. He needs some proper estimates like this has been our sale every year. This has been a monthly sales, and this is the growth we are showing. And due to increased spending on marketing or something, we are will be having a growth of about this many percentage as compared to past experiences, and we can have this growth. These are the number of competitors. How are they growing? And this is the market growth. That is what is required in your pitches. Talking about post funding strategy. So, post funding strategy in simplest terms, I can say like after the investor invests in you and your company, what do he get in return going forward in few years? Is it you're going to do an IPO, that is listing your company out for share buyers so that there is a revenue from selling them? Or is it that you will sell the products and the investor gets a share in that? So there are lots of ways in which the investor can get a return from his investment. Thus, if you can include the post funding strategy in your pitch, it allows the investor to understand about your milestones and be on the same track as you are, and he gets his will to invest in you because he gets a clear vision of how can his money give him a proper return. Now, talking of emotional storytelling in a way communicates your vision, your idea, and your narratives to the investor. Because if you're just relying upon showing lots of data, lots of information, that's not something that can make sense to him. Like at last, we all are humans. We need feelings, we need our ambitions, we need goals and visions to look forward for. If so, one who can share a nice story with the investor, like why are you the one who felt that this is the real problem? Maybe it is that you felt that this was the problem in your own story. You felt or you saw someone feel this problem a lot, and that is why you decided to take this up and solve this. In this way, that will give the investor a lot of confidence as you being the correct person to solve it. Now, learning and adaptation is like the key factor. Learning from your mistakes or the things that have gone wrong or not according to your assumptions, and then improving from that increases the investor's confidence a lot for your credibility to keep improving and changing your tracks towards success. Talking of interactive question answers, this is a very important part because you might be seeing in Shark Tank or lots of other pitch competitions and all that only your pitch does not make the entire pitch. After your pitch, the investor or the judges, they'll have lots of doubts and lots of communication that needs to be done with you. So they may ask you about lots of other data that you might have talked about or you might have not yet talked, and lots of other information. So in that case, you need to be very ready with all that data on your tips to show that you are correct, you are holding the correct market share and going forward in the correct direction. You should be ready to answer through the questions that your vision and your strategy or your actions are correct, because you can have a very good debate on that topic, and this debate truly fulfills their idea of you being correct. Now, early validation. If you can show early validation through market research or through MVP or product testimonials, that can surely change a lot of confidence, and the investor gets highly confident for investing in your product or your startup, whatever. Now, talking of the costly mistakes that lots of people make in their pitch, it's about first about having a false or very weak vision slide. Like as we talked, your vision and your emotional storytelling totally makes a difference, and it gives the listener a key or a direction to look forward for. Defining vague problem statements or unclear differentiation. You need to be very clear about your USPs, or why are you being the correct person, or the right person having some different facilities or some difference in your product, and this should be built today. Now, ignoring investor psychology is like you only talking about all data, all the numbers, and totally not going forward in the direction of your story or why this product can make a huge impact, overloading with data or having no exit strategy. So as we talked of following up with an investor, let's talk about how should we do it correct way. Let me stress upon this again and again that following up in any communication clearly shows a lot of result. Like your message might be neglected once, twice, and thrice, but the more and more times the investor sees this in his inbox, he'll be like, "Oh wow, this person is so persistent about connecting with me. Let's talk to him. Let's see what he has to say." So first of all, after your pitch, you can send a thank you note like in about 24 hours. Like that's the correct period, and you can give him all the needed resources that he had asked for. Like maybe he had asked for some uh, IP information. IP means individual property information or something like that. You can share all those information. No matter how your pitch has gone, always look out for active feedback from the person, because this helps you to refine your approach, build your pitches, or maybe change your strategy going forward to build something good in future. Also, apart from active feedback, keep sharing. Sorry, after that, keep sharing the information about how is your progress, how are you going forward. This helps you keep a contact with the investor, keeping him informed, and it keeps open doors for you to have a future opportunity or future chance with him for your business. Now, talking of three very good necessary elements that can really have a huge impact. One is AI adaptability, second is ESG focus, third is clear exit strategy. So if you can show potential in your startup or your product to implement AI features or use it, it shows a great potential and future trends in your startup. ESG focus meaning environmental and sustainability goals. Towards modern era, there are lots of policies and government features coming up supporting your startup and all, who are being aligned in ESG areas, and thus being one in this category truly helps. And as we talked earlier as well, having a clear exit strategy, a very great move for investors. Now, talking of pros and cons of raising money, here forward we are moving about funding. Like, is it that you should raise money or you should not? So, first of all, starting with advantages of raising money, you your startup might be able to accelerate a lot when you raise funds. This is because you can hire more people, you can hire more, you can get more resources Also, people you are taking investment, you can bring more mentorship. The investor can give you help from his contacts and the expertise and knowledge that. On the other hand, it also allows you to share your risk of your product with the investor, because if you lose money, it's all of it was not your own, only your own, but also of other investors. Also, have great and renowned investors on your side can boost your credibility a lot when you're talking about it anywhere else, and you say that yeah, I have this investor invested in me. So the way they are looking at you will totally change, because it totally gives you a good credibility, even before exactly what or what you are working upon. Now, talking of disadvantages, so one of the biggest disadvantage of raising money is to lose a control on your company and decisions when you have investors onboarded by giving a share. Some investors might be having misaligned goals. They'll be like, I want returns on my investment immediately, and you need to grow fast, you need to spread faster. In this, you might not be able to retain the quality you wanted, or might not be able to grow slowly and expand. You want to work the way you wanted, and you will always have investors pressure to change. Also, always relying upon investments to grow can hinder your long-term stability, because it it in a way shows you are not able to generate profit that can to your growth, rather you are burning your money for that. Thus, in summary, I can say yes, bringing more money from investors can sure accelerate your growth, but you're very vigilant about the risk you can tolerate from the investors. They can totally change your decisions and affect your board meetings and directions. And this should all be taken care deciding and thinking about the kind of company you want to build forward. Now, this might be a topic for you when you're not really upon or have a product right now and go investment. But yeah, if you are raising and you want to raise, you should only do it after you are done with early validation. You have a MVP, you have users to show, and you have you should have a clear cut plan for like 12 to 18 months about what should you do in those months. What is the exact time you want to achieve? Yes, that this planning should include a good buffer, and only that buffer inclusive you should decide the amount that you want to raise. Also, you should never raise for time like I need this much amount of money for like next 12 months, let's raise that. No, you should raise money according to the milestones. I have this feature right now in my app, but I want to build this, and this needs lot and lots of people to build it. That is why I need more money. That can be a rather better way or the correct way. Now, talking of funding options, so there are lots of funding options like bootstrapping, taking it from your friends and family, using competitions and grants, using angel investor, venture capitalists, or crowdfunding. Now, going about them one by one. Bootstrapping is what when you use your investment, your hard-earned money that you have saved, and you put it into your business and start growing it slowly, slowly. This might be slow, but gives you total power and control over your business. Second is gaining funds from your friends and family. So when you're taking money from your friends and family, it of course gives you a flexible terms to deal with them. But there is a huge drawback of this thing, that is it has a huge risk on your relations. So until and unless it's very hard or you're in a very critical situation, it's rather not preferred to go there. The third option, you can use competitions and grants. When you're talking competitions and grants, they are a bit hard to get, they consume a lot of time and efforts. But yeah, if you're going forward in that direction quite well, it adds a lot of credibility to your business, to your startup idea. When when you state that I have won that competition, I have got this much funding. Now, few more options are like angel investors. Angel investor is someone who is very high net worth individual. He individually invests in your idea, in your startup. He can give you good mentorship, and you have to give a part of your company in return to him. Then the second another option is venture capital. Unlike angel investors who will invest individually, venture capital will be a group of people who have money and they'll be investing in you. So compared to angel investors, this will be a bit longer process and lots of decision making up and down going on when before investing in you. But yeah, when you are onboarded with an angel investor, it usually should be done when you need faster growth, because we'll have a lot of people, lots of visions or lots of thoughts, and it will give a lot of options for you to run forward in your future, but not always all of them are true. So whenever you are thinking of giving a share, you need to be very vigilant about it. Good control in your company so that it gives you motivation to keep moving forward and grow it forward. Now, another option can also be crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is when all the common people can invest in your startup, but for this you need a lot of marketing and a lot of traction. Else you won't be able to raise a lot of fund that can you might be needing. Now, talking of when you're connecting with any investor, the negotiation about your valuation is quite tricky part. So the key is you can support your valuation with solid data and analysis. When you have data to compare your startup to any other, maybe in similar field also, you can have an answer to his question about why is any value that you have decided the correct value. He might he always be interested in taking a sharing company for much lower value. Also, as as discussed before, we need to take care that we retain a good share in our own company so that it gives us a strong decision making power and a lot of motivation to keep growing. Now, about effectively engaging with investors, a few tricky terms can be researching a lot about them on the beforehand. When you know what his a field of experience or what are his likelihoods or like fields that he likes to go into, so that can give you chance and information when you're talking to him. You can say that you have invested a lot in this field, you have a lot of interest, so this is what I do. You need not share all the information, but he'll understand what you are seeing. Also, being transparent is very important. This is where a lot of people go wrong and lose the deals that they have cracked all hard work they have done. This is because after the entire process is being done, the investor finds out that few of the things we're speaking are not exactly the way you had stated. This totally shifts the confidence the investor had in you. An investor feels like maybe that this company is a fraud company or something like that, and maybe the data and situation is much worse compared to what has been shared. And all the correct information that you might have shared in the pitch also appears like might have been wrong or false for him. Negotiating terms is also an important thing to do. Like we usually see that all, or we usually hear all the discussion that happens is about how much stake the investor will take in the company, how much money he will put in. That's not the entire thing, right? When an investor has a stake in your company, he'll have some decision making power. He'll get some share in profits. He'll have board seats, or you you may be like, this is the period for which you'll have to stay with us, and you can't fundings or share this percentage. That is about like vesting share I'm talking of. So there are lots of other information that a company needs to take care of. And rather than bringing them up forward when that can lead to break of your deal and the negotiations you have built so far, it's rather a better option to go about it right in the first place. And showing a lot of momentum, closing your deal quick can avoid a lot of uncertainty. Now, this is the most interesting part I wanted to discuss with you guys, which is about the strategies we as student investors and young founders can use when we are talking about pitching and funding. Whenever we are as a student founders going somewhere, we don't really have lots of market validation. We don't have a lot of past history about great products or great action. But what is that thing that we can actually do? So the few of the best things that we can look out for are whenever talking or pitching about ourselves to anyone, we should really focus upon emphasizing our vision to them. This is because it highlights our innovation and potential to build some impact. When you have articulating vision, the investor suddenly a lot of interest because there is nothing else you can show. You can't show a lot of revenue in your past days because as a student founder, that might not be a situation you are in. Also, rather than building a business or some random product, you can also look out for building movement around it. You can have a group of people who are interested in the action or the effect that your product or startup is making, and people are very interested about it. If you have a group of people who are following you, sharing your same goals, an investor when he gets to know about this, he'll be very excited to share, come forward and invest in your movement, be a part of it. Maybe who knows, you can find an investor who is very likely interested in the same problem, and you just is able to solve it. That can be the best combination you can get. So showcasing your resilience and grit are of great importance in success because you need to show that you have been suffering a lot, or like you have improved, you have changed your way, you have improved upon the data you have been getting, you iterations. This shows our journey, our challenges we've been through, and the potential of growth in us. So with this, I hope we were able to give you a good idea about funding and pitching and connecting with people. One of our community, that is ECL of IIM, will be having an event of Idea Storm from about 5th of August to 20th of August. This is for the people of IIT Madras. This will involve you developing and validating a business idea and pitching it on idea validation meetup. It will be very great to see you guys in Idea Storm. Implement the learnings you have throughout this journey of all the sessions and show your pitching skills over there. If you have any doubts, please share it in your chat box. Please comment. We'll be taking that. I hope you all have the attendance form. Also, we'll be sharing a Google form about 4 questions. That will be your task for this session. We'll be sharing the link of the Google form in our group. Any doubt? Seems like we were good in explaining about the topics we have got on stage. That's Morris. Thank you. Please fill the attendance and thank you for being with us for all 8 sessions. Like I know it would have been a long efforts that you have to put in listening to us, but I truly hope that it added some value, give you lots of great insights. Thank you for having. Have a good day. Okay. I see a doubt about joining EL. Actually, it's one of an organization that we have in IIT Madras. You can be a part of it by joining in the competitions that they have or in the events that they conduct. On the other side, you can be a part of team by joining in as a aspiring manager or a manager or a core, like as a team member. Or you can also be of a part of ECL, connecting with ECL people, sharing insights of things that you would like to receive from ECL, and maybe just few events or ideas about what would you like to look forward for.